Through diligence, the course of our destiny can be altered. Deepest gratitude to the greatly merciful and greatly compassionate Guan Yin Bodhisattva. Deepest gratitude to all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Dharma protectors. Deepest gratitude to Master Junhong Lu. Good afternoon to all Buddhist friends. I'm very grateful to be given this opportunity to share with you about my personal experience and true encounters after learning Buddhism. I'm Elise Arianto. I was born in Indonesia and currently reside in Melbourne, Australia. 2013 marked the turning point in my life as I chanced upon Kuan Yin Chita Dharma door. That was also the year when my youngest child was diagnosed with a rare and medically incurable genetic disease. My family and I traveled far and wide, desperately in search of medical help. We consulted innumerable medical specialists, only to receive the same cruel and heartbreaking diagnosis. I was told, "Your son's health will deteriorate and will need to be frequently warded, and he is unlikely to survive beyond the next 18 months. Distraught and unable to face the harsh reality, there were occasions that I was on the verge of giving up and ending my own life. It was heartrending to witness my son's health deteriorate. As his physical function started to break down, he had to be confined to bed. And this happened in the space of just 2 weeks. Words can never do justice to the anguish that I went through. What kept me going was my 2 healthy and intelligent daughters. It was during these distressing moments that I participated in the 2013 Melbourne Dharma Convention. Through a 2-term reading, Master Lu arrived at a conclusion that was similar to medical findings. Master Lu alluded, "Your baby only has 18 months to live. To extend his lifespan, you must recite a total of 11,664 little houses that are to be offered in batches of 108 per batch over the course of 108 times. Keep performing as many life liberation and Dharma propagation as possible. Your son is here to claim his karmic dues, and he will leave this world once he has depleted your entire household savings." Gripping on to the hope of extending his lifespan, my husband and I immediately embarked on our spiritual cultivation journey. Subsequently, I was fortunate to chance upon Master Lu, who divulged the relationship between my son and I in my past life. In that life, I inadvertently killed my son in a car accident. The negative affinity between us crystallized in this life, and here he was, to claim his karmic dues. He would first drain my savings before claiming my life. Master Lu further revealed that my child would still pass away prematurely, even after being offered the said number of little houses. The only difference was, by lengthening his lifespan, I would have more breathing room to repay my karmic dues. There and then, I made a vow to propagate Buddhism in Indonesia. I also transferred to him my entire merits accrued from all Dharma conventions, Buddhism propagation activities, and the adoption of a vegetarianism lifestyle. At the same time, I made a vow to keep performing life liberation on his behalf. I fervently hope that my action would move the celestial realm and pave the way for his name to be removed from the underworld. I so yearned that he would stay with me a bit longer, so that I could watch him grow up. I even toyed with images of him bouncing back to health, ran about like other able-bodied children, and attend school. My son grew bigger and more adorable by the day. Before I knew it, the much-feared 18-month threshold had come to pass, followed by 3 and 5 years. Notwithstanding, I was never able to forget what Master Lu once alluded to me. Your son will still depart this world prematurely. even after you have completed offering the recommended number of little houses. Towards the end of 2018, a relative who has heavenly eyes visited me. She disclosed that my son's days were numbered, and Bodhisattva would receive my son upon his passing. She also revealed that my son already had his own lotus flower in heaven. Coincidentally, that was the time when I had completed offering the required number of little houses. Petrified and gripped by sorrow, I could hardly believe my ears that a child who was completely unable to self-manage his daily needs would have a lotus flower in heaven. Sometime in early January 2019, a Buddhist friend invited me to a Sunday's Chinese New Year festival in Sydney. After some hesitation, I decided to bring along my 2 daughters to Sydney. We had fun in Sydney. However, our happiness was short-lived. Right in the afternoon of the Shakyamuni Buddha's Enlightenment Day, 13 January 2019, Master Lu suddenly requested me to return to Melbourne and had entrusted a Buddhist practitioner to accompany me throughout the homebound journey. It then dawned on me that something untoward must have happened to my son. Dazed and groggy, I returned to Melbourne and was anxious to make a trip to the hospital to visit my son. When seeing that my husband and brother were at the airport to receive me, I knew right away that my son had passed on. Looking back in retrospect, I'm deeply grateful to Bodhisattva for her blessings, such that I was able to take one final look at my son in the hospital. There he was, looking adorable and peaceful on his deathbed, as if he had fallen into a deep slumber. I do not have the slightest clue as to how I made it home that night, but deep down, I know that Bodhisattva had been constantly bestowing me with blessings. I got to know from my husband that Master Lu knew how things were going to unfold. My trip to Sydney had all been a plan of Bodhisattva. Had I remained in Melbourne at that time without the presence of my husband, who was engaged in some volunteering work in Sydney, I would have been paralyzed by emotions, incapable of handling my son's departure, on top of having to care for my 2 daughters and mother-in-law. When all things were done and dusted, Master Lu conducted a 2-turn reading of my son. Master Lu's vivid description of the marvelous outcome brought smiles of joy to the members of the audience. Out of sheer compassion, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva had handpicked the Shakyamuni Buddha's Enlightenment Day so that along with the Lord Buddha, they could receive my son upon his passing. My son has transcended the cycle of rebirth and has become a Bodhisattva. Milk and changing diapers are now a thing of the past. Now, he has his own lotus flower in heaven. This illustrates how awesome Guanyin Dharma door is. If not for Master Lu and Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, I would not have encountered and learned Buddhism. The outcome would have been tragic and goes along the line of: a premature death of a child comes after depleting his mother's lifelong savings. Consumed by self-blame and anguish, his mother takes her own life. Come to think of it, I have been so blessed to have encountered Buddhism and been guided by the great Master Lu. Understanding the law of karma has given me the resolve to choose a life of purpose to help propagate Buddhism and save others. Transferring merits accrued from Buddhism propagation and the participation of Dharma conventions has served me in good stead in my quest to save my son. I have fulfilled my vow and successfully removed my son's name from the underworld. Most importantly, under the sheer compassion of Bodhisattva, I was able to help my son transcend the cycle of rebirth, offering more than 10,000 little houses and transferring merits from past Buddhism-related activities. There will come a day when this temporary body of ours will perish. There is no exception to this. My son had outlived the projected lifespan by more than 3 years, while his body was unable to withstand the test of time and had to succumb to a physical death, but his spirit will live in perpetuity. I'm deeply grateful to Bodhisattva for giving us Kuan Yin Chita Dharma door that allowed my son to break free from the cycle of rebirth and arrive at a place where there is no affliction whatsoever. I'm deeply grateful to Bodhisattva to have allowed me to resolve the negative karma seeded in my past life, and in exchange, I could give my son the best possible gift. Once again, deepest gratitude to the greatly merciful and greatly compassionate Kuan Yin Bodhisattva for nourishing my spiritual life and personally be present to receive my son. Deepest gratitude to the Buddha for bringing Buddhism to the human realm. Because of you, Buddhism has thrived. Deepest gratitude to the Buddha for receiving my son on such a joyous and special occasion with the company of Kuan Yin Bodhisattva. Deepest gratitude to the greatly merciful and compassionate Master Jun Hong Lu for teaching us to be morally upright, for showering my son and I with blessings throughout the years. Last but not least, for the impeccable arrangement on the final days of my son.